Hey everyone, it's Dawn here. It's nice to see you. I know some of you have already joined us in the chat, and Katie will be with us shortly. She's dealing with a first day of school emergency for her kids. No surprise, these things happen. Lots going on with her life and mine, and it's so good to be back. So today, as publicized, Katie and I'm going to start without her, so we don't have to wait too long to get started. We always intended to go through Wendi Adelson's testimonies in the same way that we went through her police interview with Isom. And that was like a 5-hour interview. And so it took us several episodes, and I have lots of shorts on that. And I wanted to review the testimony anyway, because I'm doing a collaboration with Mentor Lawyer coming up soon, and I need to be on my game. And I'm kind of forgetful. I'm not like some of you in the chat who have like such incredible memories with facts. I tend to space some things out, remember things randomly. So I'm not as consistent with my memory. So I thought it'd be good way to get into the right frame of mind also for the upcoming trial of Charle Adelson, which appears to be going forward in October. So Mentor Lawyer said he will be carrying tomorrow's hearing on his page. So I'll be over there. And it's early in the morning. And then at the same time tomorrow, Katie and I will be back for the second part of this series, however long it takes. I don't know if it's going to be a 10-part series. There's a few hours of testimony that we want to get through. So, and then wherever that leads us. So it's nice to see you. Thank you for being here. And I see the society page is in the chat. And the society page has some really fun new videos, new page on YouTube. Very creative. I'd like to, at some point, if I'm not doing lives, I will do some creative videos. Not like anyone else's, because we're all very different. The society pages are great. Fancy fictions and true lifestyles, of course, are very creative. And so I feel like that space is sort of taken in a way, but we all have different styles. So maybe I'll do some fun videos of my own because I like to do graphics as well. So excuse me, I'm adjusting my chair here. So what I'm going to do is get us started while we wait for Katie. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be grabbing, if I can grab it, there we go, Wendi Adelson's testimony. And we're going to start from the beginning. So we're going to go backward in time to 2019. And we are going to look at the first testimony where she was called to Katherine Magbanua's trial. And it wasn't just Katie's at that time. If you remember, it was also Sigfredo. And this was before this 2019 trial ended up in a mistrial. So Katie was actually tried twice. And it looks like I don't have it downloaded. So let me just grab that. Sorry about that. I thought I had it downloaded. So yeah, so 2019 was the first time she, and you know, of course, it's a little tricky to find it because she wore that dress. So the thumbnails are look nothing like she looks now, or even a couple years later, because we noticed a vast difference in her appearance between the 3 years of those two trials. So, all right. So we have, I believe this was September of 2019, and that would have been a good 5 years already after Dan Markel was murdered, which is really, sorry, my screen's acting weird, which is a really long time, and unfortunately. So let's grab that. And now that I've given you a little update on what we're doing, hopefully you cannot hear my cat screaming at me. And I'm not going to be able to do full screen because I'm not sure if I'll hear Katie coming on. So let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can try it. No, that doesn't work. So let me do it this way. Well, you know what? We're just going to do it this funky looking screen until Katie gets here. and then I'll go full screen, so it's not so there's not so much distraction where you're seeing my whole window. It shouldn't be a problem doing full screen here, but for some reason, sometimes this app is a little funny that way. All right, so let's get started. I'll just continue to, oh, by the way, let me check my mic real quick too. I'll just continue to update us as to where we are in time, because some of us may not remember exactly what was happening, and myself as well. Hi, Helen. It's good to see you. Can you hear me okay? I didn't have my mic set up. I'm so out of practice. Hi, it's good to see you. All right, so we're getting started. We're going to take a look. Katie will be here soon. She had an emergency on the first day of school. Great way to get started, right? Okay, great. You can hear me okay. So we're going to start in the 2019 with the Katie Magbanua, and as you can see, Sigfredo in the background. And I'm not sure why it's not playing. There we go. Katie and Sigfredo's trial, and this is day 2 when Wendi Adelson testifies. And so we're going to be going over it. Yes, Helen, I do too. And I was mentioning I need to refresh my memory, because some of the folks in this community of Justice for Dan Markel have like really great memories for details. I am more of a creative, and so sometimes I forget details, although they're there. I sometimes need to be reminded. So Mentor Lawyer was very generous to invite me on a collaboration, and we're going to be actually talking about his 20 reasons why Wendi might be implicated in Dan Markel's murder, and based on the testimonies that she gave. So I so far have only done the interrogations, and we meant to get to the testimonies next, but life happened. Oh, so that's true for you too? Well, good. Yeah, because I think we all have a great memory for all these details, and some of them don't really matter. Sometimes it's really minor, but although in law enforcement, all the details tend to matter. So I think this is when John Lauro is invited in, if I'm not mistaken. And my cat wants to make an appearance. I had to bring her in from the balcony because she was being naughty and doing dangerous things out there, and I didn't want her to jump off the 3rd floor balcony while I was live streaming. So here she is. Tash, say hi. Come here. Come here. Say hi. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. There he is, John Lauro. Yeah, I don't think she would jump, but I don't trust her. That's my kitty. Spotted tabby. Here we go. Can you hear okay? Yeah, Tosh is a spotted tabby, and her name Tosh is French for spot. I was going to call her Spot, but that sounded a little prettier. And so, like in French, the word mustache. That's part of where Tosh comes from. It's a little spot. When a young man starts to grow hair on his face, they sometimes get teased and they call it a Tosh. So there's a lot of other uses for that word in French as well. So it's kind of cute. But she's spotted, and I mean, she has really cool spots, and she has her own Instagram page. If you want to check it out, she's fun. I love taking pictures of her. Okay, so can you hear? know why my windows. Okay, can you hear the court that I have playing here? Okay, Helen, or is it? They're still kind of chatting in the background, so it's not real easy to hear. I mean, this is when John Laurel pops up representing Wendi. He is now representing Trump. Okay, and which is an interesting factoid. And the judge is very hard to hear as well. So let's see. Helen, thank you for being my tester. So I think if I turn this off. Okay. Once they start talking into the mics, if you are. Can you hear that okay now? When I did not just call you Wendi, Helen. Could you hear Wendi there? Let me know in the chat if you don't mind. Thank you. Oh, you can't hear it. Okay, what is happening? This is the first. You know, it's funny. I don't normally ask this question. I must have known something was going to happen. Okay, glad we're doing this. Okay, I turned my Bluetooth off. So let me do this. Tell me if you can hear now. Do you know? Hi, hello. So Helen, you can't. Hi, Lorenzo. Hello, Helen. You can't hear. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stop sharing and try it again. So now that I have turned my microphone off, can you hear me speaking now? Hopefully, I turned my microphone off. This has never happened before, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening. Share. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so you can hear me okay. I turned my microphone off, but I have a built-in microphone. But can you now hear Wendi's testimony? I might have to do a restart. Yes. Okay. You're not a jinx. All right. Okay. So let's start from scratch here. And I am going to, as we did with the interview, the police interview, I'm going to talk about some body language that I noticed. And I probably should take notes because I want to do some shorts. Okay. Okay, you're right there. Look at that face. He was my husband with the question mark at the end. I'm an attorney, and she's got her little sweet baby voice on. She's obviously been coached to look innocent. Her mouth is open while she's listening to the questions so far. That means she's showing that she's receptive. We know how receptive she really is. Oh, you still can't hear her? Oh my God, really? But you can hear me. Okay, well, we got to get this straightened out before. Let's try one other thing. Ay, 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 ay. What is happening? Okay, well, while I'm here, let me do this. Wow, that's odd. Okay, I'm going to download it and try it this way. Sorry, you guys, I have no idea why this would ever happen. Bluetooth is off. You can hear me, you just can't hear the screen. Microphone is off. Let's do this. All right. All right. Now I'm going to stop with that one because that's obviously not working. And we're going to just make it go away altogether so I can please go away. Never come back again. And try it again. All right. Testing 1,025,000.
Somebody get me with it.
Yes, sir.
She's never been arrested before?
No.
Okay. She's not even testifying in this case, is she? To
No.
your knowledge?
Okay, so who can you hear? You can hear me and Wendi now?
To my knowledge, no.
What about your brother Charlie? Is he in Miami right now?
He's probably in Fort Lauderdale right now.
Okay, but he hasn't been arrested?
No.
Hasn't been charged?
So you can hear both of us? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start again then. Yay. I hate technology problems when I'm live. That is the first time I like just sail through my technology usually. That's one thing I'm fairly good at. Now I can't figure out how to make this smaller. Okay. I'll just do it this way. Okay, let's get through Lauro. Wendi. There's Lauro and his curly hair. And here we go. All right.
Answer all relevant questions. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to make?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
So here she's whoops. Here she's saying, being advised by the judge that she has to, with her limited immunity, she has to answer all open questions, okay? And they have to be truthful, obviously. So it wasn't that she could just do yes or no closed questions or with specific answers, even open-ended questions, which I think a lot of people forget that he mentioned in his admonishment about her immunity situation. So let's go back one more time and make sure we're good. So when Katie gets here.
Anything derived from this testimony cannot be used against you, but you will be required to answer all relevant questions. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to make?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Ms.
Feel good?
Your Honor, I just said, yes, on this time,
I think she said about 45 minutes.
would we then break after theirs? Is there a cross for 2 minutes?
No. We're going to finish today with this witness.
I understand, I don't believe they would be able to do that.
That's up to you.
You don't sense the report.
Oh, I'll work on that. Don't know.
Wait.
Yours in the courtroom?
Everybody be seated, please. Proceed, Ms. Captain.
All right, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
My name is Wendi Adelson, WendiAdelson.
So I just want us to get her, this isn't, I don't believe this is her baseline, but at least her baseline when she starts testimony here. And so that we can take note of not only how her words change, but her facial expressions and body language changes.
How are you employed, Ms. Adelson?
I'm an attorney.
All right, and do you know,
Mic up just a little bit, if you would, please, ma'am.
So she's speaking so softly, and I would say like she's a little girl in a way, in her little sweet saccharine voice here, that the judge has to tell her to adjust the mic because people might not be able to hear her. She's speaking so softly, and we know she can spar because we'll see that later.
All right.
I'm an attorney.
all right, how were you employed back in 2014?
I was employed at FSU Law School.
Okay, and were you a member of the Florida Bar?
Now, when she says I was employed at FSU Law School, her nostrils flared and she took a deep breath, as if she was getting ready for something to happen, or maybe it just had an emotional response for reasons that we don't know, but it was definitely noticeable. And you will see her nostrils flare at very specific times during this testimony, which is super interesting.
At that time?
I was.
All right. And did you know Dan Markel?
Yes, I did.
How did you know?
Okay, so did you know Dan Markel? Yes, I did. And she looks a little concerned here. She's very much studying Georgia Kappelman, kind of taking the little girl sweet approach right here. But watch how she changes her tone right here. Did you know Dan Markel?
No, Mr. Markel.
He was my husband.
She scrunches up her eyes. She scrunches up her forehead. And she starts smirking. I mean, to me, this is just like, what? We barely even got started yet, and she's already smirking that Dan Markel was her husband. She knows full well she was going to be asked very basic questions, and she didn't have any problem with the basic questions up until here. So why did she get smirky here?
When did
What do
you
you-
meet him?
We met in
And she adjusted herself right there in a big way with the pursing of the lips, the grooming of the lips, like, oops, I just did something, like when you're a kid and you say something and you go, I shouldn't have said that. That is what that looks like to me. And then, of course, she's looking up and away, pretending that, this memory was so far away, it doesn't come right straight to her mind, although she should have been prepared for these questions because they're so basic.
2004.
And a second time, she answers her questions with a question mark. He was my husband, question mark, 2004, question mark. That shouldn't really be a question.
And when did you marry?
We married in 2006.
Now that one, she didn't have a question on. She was very clear. She remembered when they got married. Yay, Wendi.
Did you ever live in Tallahassee?
I did live in Tallahassee.
When did you first move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee in the fall, August of 2005, and we lived in Tallahassee that academic year, so from 2005 until the summer of 2006. And then we spent a year living in Miami from 2006 to 2007. And then I lived back in Tallahassee from 2007 to 2014.
Why did you move to Tallahassee the first time?
The first time we moved to Tallahassee for Danny's job. He got a job at FSU Law School.
All right, and what about the second time?
And the second time we moved back to Tallahassee because he had tried to get a job at University of Miami Law School and it didn't work out.
All right, so both times it was for his employment?
Yes,
Okay, did you like living in Tallahassee?
I did.
All right, and did you live on Trescott Drive?
Did you like living in Tallahassee? I did. Okay. That was pretty believable if you didn't know better, right?
The first time we moved to Tallahassee for Danny's job. He got a job at FSU Law School.
All right, and what about the second time?
And the second time we moved back to Tallahassee because he had tried to get a job at University of Miami Law School and it didn't work out.
Oh, there's the sweetie face right there. Like, oh, poor Danny, it didn't work out. We know how she really feels about this, but this is like pouring it on a little bit thick. And you'll notice when she wants to come off as sweet and submissive and feminine and cooperative, most importantly in this case, this is the look that you'll get. It's just, yeah, it's good. It's good. What do you think? And by the way, I can't see you guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of my full screen now because I never did this before, but I'll be right back where I can see your comments.
All right, so both times it was for his employment?
Yes,
Okay, did you like living in Tallahassee?
I did.
All right, and did you live on?
I did. This is the first time we even see her nodding her head in confirmation and looking straight at Georgia, and a little bit of pulling back of the lips, knowing that we know that's not a true statement based on other statements that she's made completely to the contrary. Many, many, many. This is the one time we hear her say, oh yeah, I really did. I did like living in Tallahassee. So that's the look of somebody who just did a little fib. They're not, I did, and her mouth continues to remain open and receptive like it was before. Now she's tightening those lips up a little bit, like maybe she said a fib, right? What do you think?
On Trescott Drive?
We did.
So now we're nodding in confirmation, like on some of these baseline questions that are pretty much indisputable. Yes, they lived on Trescott Drive. She also is tracking everything that is happening in this courtroom, and she's tracking Cattleman's paperwork. She's looking down at her paperwork. She's a very alert and aware of everything that's going on, as she should be, as a lawyer would be. But at the same time, she's got this childlike persona going. It's kind of contradictory and weird, in my opinion.
That was our home.
And where are you from, Ms. Adelson?
I'm from Broward County originally.
And do you have family members in Broward currently?
I have one family member in Broward.
Where do you live currently? Or you can just tell us.
I live in Miami-Dade County.
And what about your parents? Where do they live?
They currently live in Miami-Dade County.
All right. And what about your brother, Charles Adelson?
He lives in Broward County.
And do you have any children?
I do.
And how many children do you have?
I have 2 children.
What are their ages?
They are 10 and 8, turning 9 soon.
Okay. Both boys?
Both boys.
And both the biological children of Dan Markel?
Yes.
How are your family members employed, specifically your parents and your brother?
My mom is not currently working very much.
Here again with the question at the end. So it's interesting to note when she changes her answers to question. Now, there might be a lot of reasons for doing that, but in this case, look at look at her eyes, how they've changed. Like, where are you going with this, Miss Kappelman? You're now talking about my mom? So I see a very different expression, and I got out of full screen, so now I can see what's going on out here in the comments. So if you've come, and yes, okay, so Helen, yes, agrees that she comes off as super innocent. And that Helen, you watch the nostrils too. Good. And that is usually a pretty aggressive, an aggressive, somebody that is angry or aggressive. Its nostrils are flaring. It's generally not associated with anything super fuzzy, warm, and positive in general. So yes, like that, covering the mouth or tightening the lip after a lie is kind of common. That things that we know without being behavior experts, we know innately that somebody might be fibbing when they're doing that. I love kind of putting some of these tips that we get from experts. I am just having the hardest time moving my screens around and stuff today online, and actually putting them into practice. And this is a fun one to do with, although a lot of us don't want to see her face for various reasons. So, okay, we'll keep going. Hopefully Katie's almost here.
She helps out with my dad's office. My dad is a dentist, and
she helps out with my dad's office, question mark. Like, is it a question or is it an answer, Wendi? And she didn't ask about your dad. So this is kind of interesting that she's now offering information that wasn't asked. So to me, so far, she's been pretty good about just answering the questions. It's just what you're supposed to do and allow the lawyers to follow up. But here we go.
my brother Charlie is a periodontist.
And does your family have a dental practice?
I'm very observant, Helen, probably because, of what happened in my childhood where somebody tried to actually kidnap me. I got away, and but he was around and stalking for a long time, and so I always had to pay attention to what was going on around me.
In South Florida
They do.
that they own and operate?
They do.
Is your family in South Florida wealthy? And that's a relative term.
I just want to let this one sink in and savor it. First of all, okay, so Georgia asked, is your family in South Florida wealthy? Yeah, Helen, I really need to do a live stream just about that. Is your family in South Florida wealthy? The look she gave Kappelman there before this look. Okay, I'm going to back it up. And then it even to the point that it made Kappelman say relatively, like she softened up the question, which I don't think she should have. I think Wendi kind of won on that one. So let's just go back a tiny bit. And I might even do this in slow motion. Kind of want Katie to see this one. So we're going to do this one half speed so we can get the.
Currently working very much.
Oops.
She helps out with my dad's office. My dad is a dentist, and my brother Charlie is a periodontist.
So she answers that question and she's looking at Georgia like she looks like she has a little bit of fear. Like, what is she going to ask me next? She's looking at her like kind of in a helpless way at times.
And does your family have a dental practice in South Florida
They do.
that they own and operate?
They do.
Is your
So you see the mouth now showing that receptiveness, open mouth, like a little bird that is waiting for mom to feed.
family in South Florida wealthy?
Pause. Watch the look. Her mouth is closing. Blink. Adjust. Like, I'm doing this more exaggerated, but it's like she's going like, right? It's like, really? Did you ask me that? How crass. She pauses. She's starting to nod her head, yes, and up and down.
And that's a relative term.
And look at the face when Kappelman says, I know that's a relative term. It was like, ooh, a little victory. Her face totally changes there.
Are you asking me to speculate?
He asking you to speculate, Wendi. Sorry, I couldn't help it. She was right. Sorry, everyone. There you go. There you go. That's the face of Wendi when she thinks she's won something. It's just so ridiculous. My gosh, my keys aren't working. Nothing's working.
No, I'm asking if they're wealthy. You may, if you don't know, you say you don't know.
It depends how you define wealthy.
How do you like the? And then it depends on how you define wealthy. Now, most people in the jury are going to notice this, and I'm going to just do normal speed here again. So I had to just, there was a lot to this that I think is super interesting. And again, this doesn't have to do with anything but interest in how she answers.
Mom is not currently working very much. She helps out with my dad's office. My dad is a dentist, and my brother Charlie is a periodontist.
And does your family have a dental practice in South Florida
They do.
that they own and operate?
They do.
Is your family in South Florida wealthy? And that's a relative term.
Are you asking me to speculate?
No, I'm asking if they're wealthy. You may, if you don't know, you say you don't.
I mean, first of all, that's not speculation. They're either wealthy or they're not. I don't disagree that somebody might consider somebody wealthy that another person might say, well, they do all right. You know, that it could be relative, but it's not speculation. So the fact that she's already going to try and take the assertive role here so early on is rather interesting.
No.
It depends how you define wealthy.
Are they millionaires?
No.
No. She let that one hang a little, Georgia, rightfully so. So much so that Wendi had to turn her face. Now, why would somebody turn their face if they've said something that might not be true, that isn't true, right? They turn their face in a lot of people are ashamed of lying, or they'll purse their lips or tighten their lips up. That might or might not be what she's doing.
When did you separate
Now look at the way her eyes changed. Now she's looking not doe-eyed.
from Mr. Markel?
Her eyes are not as wide open and doe-eyed. They're more squinty and laser focused. Sorry, my clicker is not working.
We separated in the fall of 2012.
And was part of the reason for your disagreement or separation?
Lots of posture, you have to really be paying attention to it. But from after that question where she turned her head, she's trying to decide how to posture herself. Should she be relaxed? Should she be more upfront, uptight, ready to spar? Just a lot of movement going on there.
Having to do with how to raise the children in terms of your faith?
Yes, we had different ways of practicing our faith.
Okay.
I love this one. I love this answer. And honestly, wish Georgia, and of course that wasn't why she was there. Oh God, this stupid thing. It wasn't why she was there, but I would love, tell me in the comments what you think. Would you have not just loved for Georgia to say, and how is it that you practice your faith, Wendi? Just would love that. I would have loved that. Love that answer. And then so that she could have followed up.
Do you know when you filed for divorce?
I believe it was the fall of 2012.
Okay, 9/10/2012 sound right to you?
That sounds right.
And when you separated initially in the fall of 2012, did you move to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
You didn't go to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
Was it your desire during that time to move with the children to South Florida?
I would say right then, no, it wasn't.
Facts suggest differently, don't they?
Are you familiar with a court order ordering you to come back to Tallahassee from South Florida?
I'm not familiar with that.
When you moved out from the marital home there on Trescott Drive, you lived at another residence in Tallahassee, is that correct?
I did.
And do you recall the address there?
I do. 3303 Aqua Ridge Way.
Okay. And
Hard swallow. Did you hear that? Feel that? Sense that? See that? That was really so. One of the things, whether it's an interview, interrogation, or even lines of questioning by lawyers, is they will do soft questions, easy questions, baseline questions, and then throw something in that may or may not, God, what is wrong with me? Be focusing on this particular question, but it did elicit a completely different body language response, all the theatrics of looking over here and remembering the address, and then the hard swallow, which I'm really wondering what that is. It helps because they're going to review this testimony for the next trial as well, which if there was another trial, and there was, and so that they can compare what does she do when she's looking for information. Does she go up to the right, look up to the right? Does she look, this way? And she has a very specific way of doing that, which you'll see the pattern as we keep going on these. But what I did notice just now, and I didn't notice when I watched this like 3 other times, was that extremely hard swallow after that address. What do you think that was about? Oh, hey, JPJ. Yes. Yes, I think we have a club here, and thanks for watching later, and you can let me know what you think if you want in the comments, since you can't chat now. Helen. Yeah. We love you, JPJ. I love this community so much. Okay. So
Was there a time during the time that you were living there at Aqua Ridge that you determined that you would like to move to South Florida with the children?
There was.
Right. And were your parents very involved in trying to facilitate that relocation?
My parents were supportive of me moving to South Florida.
okay. So she rewords the question. She didn't ask if they were supportive. Okay? Tricky. Again, probably rehearsed, thought about this in advance, or maybe been asked this before by, friends and others. They were supportive. That wasn't the question. But Georgia doesn't pursue it because Georgia knows what material facts. Georgia knows what she wants to get from this interview. We don't. So I'm not criticizing what Georgia follows up on or how she follows up, just so you know.
Would you describe your parents as being over involved in your personal business?
As compared to other people's parents?
Here we go. Just like are they wealthy? Are you asking me to speculate? Well, no. Did she ask you compared to other parents? How would she know other parents? She only knows her own parents. So this one, I would have nailed her on just to put her in her place. But of course, Georgia that's not her style, and she's much better at this than I would ever be.
Yeah.
And I love Georgia's answer. Yeah. But really, no. That's just Wendy's way of trying to take control of the question by rewording it a way that she feels comfortable.
I don't know.
And then after all that, I don't know. She could have just said, I don't know. I mean, she could have said whatever, but all the theatrics. So this is Wendi playing with somebody, which is really kind of sickening and manipulative. And if it weren't in a court of law and Georgia knew specifically what she was doing with regard to a much bigger picture, she wouldn't get by with this with any other intelligent person. She certainly wouldn't get by with it with me in a conversation in a coffee shop.
What was the child custody schedule when you were living at Aqua?
And again, I just love appreciation for Georgia here too, of when she pauses. She might not go after every little thing, but she'll pause and let it sit in. Why? So that the jury can digest that whole thing. Don't think that the jury, even if they don't pay that much attention to body language, that everyone innately does. So the jury notices these things.
Aqua Ridge, and I assume Mr. Markel continued to live in the marital home on Trescott.
He did.
Okay, what was the custody situation with kids?
So the custody situation changed over time and depending on the part of the year. But I think...
Here we go again. Time? Year? So we're ending with question marks? Again, Wendi? Why?
In the beginning...
Yeah, I love Georgia.
We would do a Wednesday night overnight. It was about 50-50 shared custody, but I don't remember the exact arrangement. I do remember in the summertime it would switch to week on, week off, but during the school year it was slightly different.
So still 50-50, but not necessarily every other week. It was mixed up within the week.
It was.
Okay. And you mentioned that you did develop a desire to move to South Florida. Did you file a motion to that effect on January 14th, 2013?
That sounds, I did file a motion. I don't remember the exact date.
Okay.
But that sounds about right.
All right. And in that motion,
Right. I don't remember. Come on, Wendi.
did you make some allegations that Mr. Markel was making things difficult for you at work?
I did.
Okay. And was that motion granted or denied?
So she was more than on top of that answer. Why? I want to think about this. Why was she so Oh, that I remember. I did. Nodded her head, affirmative. Why? Because that helps paint the picture she wants painted. It was Danny harassing me at work. It was Danny who blah, 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 right? She has not, even after all 5 years had passed at this time, let go of let's trash Danny at every chance we get, even right here in subtle ways. I think everyone should take note of that. She isn't really, she's wishy-washy about a lot of things, but she wasn't wishy-washy about that.
That motion was denied.
All right, denied with prejudice?
I don't remember.
Okay.
If you have it, you can, I'm happy to take a look.
There we go again, trying to take control. Trying to take control and trying to get a hold of what Georgia has in her paperwork, because she's looking at everything. She's taking note of how many papers are there. She's very calculating. I mean,
Okay.
not
But
saying,
in any event, you were not able to move at that time.
I did not move.
there we go again. You were not able to move. I did not move. She cannot admit that she was confined to live near Dan so that Dan could co-parent.
And were
And therein lies the motive.
you upset about being stuck in Tallahassee?
I was relieved.
You were relieved. You wanted.
Wasn't that cute? Wasn't that just so cute? I was relieved. Look at that face. The face of an actress.
to stay in Tallahassee.
I was happy at my job.
Nodding up and down. That's a new face. We haven't seen this face before. And again, the smirk. She knows she's lying. She knows it's not anything, it's how she felt, right? So this isn't anything anyone can get her on. This is all about what she wants the jury to perceive about her and probably her family, but mostly her. But it is important and it is a lie. But again, it's her feelings. So she could say her feelings changed or whatever. And then we've got the little side slant to the head almost all the time. And then the lips will start open. But again, here, her eyes are not doe-eyed. They're now squinty and a little more aggressive. And her mouth isn't open just yet.
Okay.
And you probably couldn't hear it, but right there, again, the pause. Georgia, masterful pause. And then she says, okay, very quietly.
Do you recall when your divorce to Mr. Markel became final?
I think that's the first time she put her head down too. So this time it wasn't this and it wasn't this. It was, she knows she lied.
Summer of 2013.
Okay, July 31st sound about right?
That sounds right.
You sound right.
Would you consider your divorce with Mr. Markel to be a nasty divorce?
She looks like she's going to start laughing right there. See the,
I think
she's started to, now she's straight.
most divorces aren't very pleasant.
Again, reframing the question. Wasn't the question. She was asking about your divorce, Wendi, with Danny, the one who was murdered, not most divorces, and not was it pleasant or not. That wasn't the question.
Okay, but this one was like really unpleasant, right?
I found getting divorced
Yeah, again, a little bit of a smile in there.
to be unpleasant. Yes.
And
I found getting divorced to be unpleasant. Again, trying to take the specifics out.
in the litigation that ensued between the two of you, you guys argued over things as small as a tennis racket. I noticed in one pleading.
Little smile there. She thinks that's cute and funny, I guess. Not funny. What's your name, Wendi? almost called her Jenny. I am not a morning person.
I don't remember that.
It's so cute. A tennis racket. Oh, yeah, you don't remember that. Okay.
Did he threaten to press kidnapping charges against you?
Overruled.
By the way, why would I forgot the attorney for Katie jump in and say objection hearsay on this, because how would that help or hurt Katie with this? I don't know why she even did it. It was overruled, but I thought it was interesting that she piped in on that question. Katie's attorney, who's been quiet up until now.
I
Tara
don't remember that. No.
was.
Did he threaten to go after your law license? Remember that?
I don't remember that. No.
She thought that was funny too, a little smile.
Oh.
Do you remember him
Oh, no.
saying you failed to disclose a bunch of assets?
Look at this pretend I'm innocent face. The mouth is opened up again. Now her eyes aren't quite as doe-like again. She can't do the whole look, but she's got the thing going on.
Assets in the divorce process?
I do remember that.
Oh, she remembered
Did
something.
you guys have any mediations as part of your divorce?
We did have mediations leading up to settlement.
2 8-hour mediations, correct?
I don't remember how long they were.
I just. Okay.
But they seemed very long.
Sometimes
They
I have to
both
pause.
did not result in a resolution.
They did not.
All right, but you did reach a settlement, I think, kind of just on the eve of a trial on the matter, correct?
That sounds right.
Do you remember the
That sounds right isn't the same as saying yes, that's what happened, or just yes. That sounds right continues to help her with what she thinks is this persona she's creating for the jury, for the audience. She's on stage after all, and it's pretty bad acting. I mean, I've never really looked at this in this kind of detail before. I've picked up on this as it was going on, but it's really good to break this down because you can really see where she is trying to really, I think the most important thing for her, because she doesn't care whether Katie goes to prison or not. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think she cares? I mean, she might care in the sense that she could flip on her, but what she cares about is further down the road, because she eventually did become a named co-conspirator, unindicted yet, as of yet. But so she's more concerned about future trials of other people, possibly herself. But so her whole act for this trial is about her image.
this motion that was filed by your deceased ex-husband on March 26, 2014, involving, among other things, that had to do with your mother, an allegation that your mother was disparaging the children. I'm sorry.
Overruled.
Disparaging him to the children is what I meant to say. Are you familiar with that pleading?
I am familiar with that pleading.
Okay, so there was an objection again from Tara Kawas, which is Katie's, Katherine Magbanua's attorney. And in this case, you can understand, you might want to tell me what you think in the chat and the comments when you replay this, why she would have objected right there. I think we're starting to see her object to certain things that could affect, confirm or deny the whole story that the prosecutor's office is putting on, so the defense wants to poke holes in.
All right, and in that pleading, did he allege that you were depriving him of physical access to the children?
I don't remember the specifics.
Do you recall whether he was complaining about you refusing to communicate with him about right of first refusal to the children during your time with them?
I know he was frustrated about the Skype.
What do we think about her crinkly nose? I don't remember the specifics. It's like a little kid when they're lying and you know they're lying. It's like, oh, you took that candy bar. I just saw you take that candy bar. Yeah, it's just like overacting, I guess is what you would call it, the crinkly nose. Pretty interesting.
Skyping.
Lack of communication via Skype.
It's
between
hard
you
to
and the
Skype
children.
with two toddlers. Yes.
Okay, two toddlers.
All right. And in that motion, do you recall him being upset about an allegation that you let the kids eat non-kosher foods?
I remember him being upset about that in general, but I don't remember whether it was an emotion or not.
What does that mean, non-kosher foods?
So kosher rules have to do with the separation of milk and meat, or dairy and meat. So non-kosher foods would be meat that hasn't been killed in a way that conforms with Jewish law.
Okay, so here's a great example of her answering something that doesn't have anything directly to do with her, and so how smooth it is, her face, how she answers. She's not doing the sideway doe look. She's just being factual about something she knows about this topic.
Or the mixing of the two.
And is observing those types of eating habits something that's important to you?
It is not important to me.
And was it something that was important to Dan Markel?
It was important to Danny.
And it was important to her at one time. She changed.
It was important to him
I
that the children observed that way of eating, correct?
It was.
And in that motion, did he seek to restrict your mother's contact with the kids to supervised visits only?
I don't remember, but if you'd like to show me the motion, I can take a look.
Okay, but you don't remember that portion?
No.
All right. Do you remember the allegation that,
Again, with the over-exaggerated shrug shoulders, no. She didn't display that when talking about the kosher food. If it was a no, it was a no. Yes, it all this over-exaggeration, play acting appears to be going on in this case.
your mother made statements to the children that grandma hates you, grandma says you're stupid, your father is trying to take my sunshines away, anything like that? Do you recall?
No, but again, I'm happy to look at it if you'd like to show me.
I understand.
Here, Georgia was like, yeah, I understand. You're happy to look at it. I liked her answer there.
Do you recall that Mr. Markel was seeking sanctions against you personally in that motion?
Just had pause there. Self-explanatory.
I don't remember that.
Crinkle nose. I don't remember that. Oh, I don't remember that.
Do you know whether this would have been a motion that you would have shown to your mother? Would she have been aware of it?
I probably would have shown my mom the motion.
Bingo. Bingo. I probably would have. I think so too.
Is it fair to say that your parents are very protective of you?
I think that's fair to say.
Is it fair to say that your brother is very protective of you?
I think that's fair to say.
Okay. What about Dan Markel? Did your family like him?
Do you want to specify a point in time?
Well, I'm specifically thinking of a statement you made in the interview after his death, where you indicated that your parents were very angry with him. Is that accurate?
At that point in time, during our divorce, I do think they were angry with him. They felt like he had treated me badly.
Okay. So here's something interesting. Georgia asked about what Wendi said in the police interview, which we covered really extensively on this channel, second by second, in painful detail. And then Wendi answers, I think that would be fair. Yes, basically she's affirming it, but then she switches it. I don't know if you've noticed this. She's saying at that point in time when we were going, they were talking about going through, she's talking about going through the divorce. Georgia was asking her about when Dan was murdered, because Wendi was in the interview room with Detective Isom the afternoon that Dan was shot. And this is what Georgia's asking about, not when they got the divorce. So again, she's doing a little bit of a switch here.
And the motion to preclude your mom from having unsupervised contact with your kids, that was still pending at the time of his murder, correct?
That's possible. I mean,
Look at that face. That's possible. Yeah, that's everything right there. That's everything right there. Look at that face. If it was just yes or no, we know how she answers when it's a straight up baseline question, yes or no. Look at that face when it's this important question.
I don't think anyone took that motion very seriously.
Okay. Did your mom take it seriously?
I don't think so.
Even my cat is meowing right now. I agree, Tosh. Meow. No way. There we go. She didn't take it seriously at all. We don't have any of those emails of her not taking it seriously.
Did Dan Markel take it seriously?
I don't know how Danny felt about the motion.
Here we go again. Yeah, this is what she looks like when she's not telling the truth. And really what's sad about it is look at the corners of her mouth. It's smiling. She's enjoying it. This is why so many people have such a visceral reaction to this woman. She's smiling. This is why he was murdered.
If he wrote the motion, he was probably taking it seriously.
Like, that is not funny.
I want to approach with some emails. Have you had an opportunity to review State's Exhibit 80?
Your Honor, can I see what this week's Your Honor, and I don't know if you want to do it now or I'm going to request a sidebar.
What's that?
I'm going to request a sidebar.
Let her identify.
This is State's Exhibit 80. Just take a moment and flip through, make sure this is exhibit previously.
I've been shown these exhibits.
Okay. And are these exhibits fair and accurate copies of emails between yourself and your mother, Donna Adelson?
They are.
Just a minute. My cat is really incensed about this whole testimony.
And the email addresses on this exhibit, donnaRB@gmail.com, please.
My parents have a joint email address.
Okay, but you were communicating with one of them in particular.
Whoever signed the email, but it could be from either or both of them.
Okay, either could have used it, but deduce from who signed it, who it's from.
That sounds right.
Okay, and Wendi Adelson@gmail.com, is that you?
That is me.
Judge, at this time, I ask you to open up the State's Exhibit.
We'll go to sidebar. Let me give a brief legal explanation to the jury. You've heard a number of hearsay objections about things that were said by Mr. Markel, things that are in these emails by another person who may not be testifying. Normally, we refer to those things as hearsay, and they're not allowed without the person actually testifying, but there are a whole bunch of exceptions to that. And one of the exceptions to that is when it's not being offered to prove that what's said is true, but simply to show that it has been said because there's some relevance to the fact that these statements were made. So I am not offering these statements to show they're true. These persons, I mean, obviously Mr. Markel can't be here for us to have cross-examination of him. We don't anticipate that.
Okay, this is probably a good pause. We usually like to do about 20 minutes, and I think Katie might be jumping on. So I thought what would be kind of cool is for us to get Katie's reaction. I won't say anything because you've heard mine, and let's see what she picks up on, because we all have different things that we might notice. Hi, Tosh. My poor cat really wants me to play. Yes, our whole schedule is messed up. Come on, say hi to everybody. Say hi. Say hi. She hates when I do this. Hi. 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 Hi, Tosh. All right, so Katie said she's jumping on now. And so we'll let her jump on. I'll keep going. Let's just see what happens. In case she...
The other Miss Adelson will be here as a witness. We can't test.
My
The attorneys
baby.
will not be able to test that to see whether that's true or not. But I am allowing it for.
Okay. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so sorry.
So I've gone into about 20 minutes. Some of it isn't anything, but what I thought we could do is I'll start it over and let's see what you notice. And then we can compare notes at the end.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, so.
I'll take my hair down. I didn't realize how bad it looked. Woo.
Oh, my hair. Okay, here we go. This is John Lauro, the back of John Lauro's head. That's her attorney, by the way. He is now representing Donald Trump.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let me see. And I'm having a lot of technical issues for some reason today.
Testimony cannot be used against you, but you will be
what?
required to answer all relevant questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and the judge's voice,
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
he has ALS. Is that what I heard?
Anything else?
Yeah, he's retired now. He's a
Okay.
very
Mr. Secretary?
good voice.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Woo-hoo.
I mean, the one thing that I noticed right away is that she's like trying to gather all the information, like what's happening.
Very aware. Yep. Her
Yep.
eyes.
And she looks like a freaking robot, like a Stepford wife. She drives me crazy.
But look at the back of her hair. Like Stepford wives.
Oh, no.
Stepford wives would have. It would be perfect. She's a hot mess, and you can just tell who's really put together and who's only like half.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have that lovely gray dress with piping, our Rick Rack.
Do you think she's going to wear that to Danny's trial? Charlie. Do you think she'll wear that to Charlie's trial?
I don't know that she will testify, and I don't think she will be in the gallery.
I don't believe it will be able to do that.
Yeah, Helen, it's a rat's nest. And it's even worse in the 2022 trial. It's great. We love it. And we're not normally this way with the women, but this one,
No, but I can be like this with her.
she puts herself out there. She's as a target because she wants to
Yeah.
be. Mm-hmm.
I still just wish I could find a picture of her with her brown eyes.
Oh, there are pictures of her with her brown eyes.
Everybody be seated, please. Proceed, Ms. Kaplan.
Yeah, we're not like that. Hi, Judy. Okay. Have a good meeting.
All right, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
My name is Wendi Adelson, WendiAdelson.
How are you employed, Ms. Adelson?
I'm an attorney.
All right, and do you know,
Mike, up just a little bit, if you would, please, ma'am.
She's got such a
Right.
I'm an attorney.
all right, how were you employed back in 2014?
I was employed at FSU Law School.
Okay, and were you a member of the Florida Bar at that time?
I was.
And did you know Dan Markel?
Yes, I did.
How did you know Mr. Markel?
He was my husband.
When did you meet him?
We
Up
met
and to the left.
in
Remember, pause when you want me to stop.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Pause.
Okay.
The up and to the left
Yeah.
is where
Yes.
she's looking to recall.
This is her right.
Oh, sorry, her right.
Yes.
It's the one thing I struggle the most in the world with. It's ridiculous.
Well, no, I have to go like, this is her right. I can't.
Yes.
But
Oh.
so that would be where facts would come from, or also if she had prep, she might be looking at the board or whatever the
Sure.
yeah. So yes. Okay, here we go. Ugh.
I know.
2004.
And when did you marry?
We married in 2006.
Did you ever live in Tallahassee?
I did live in Tallahassee.
When did you first move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee in the fall, August of 2005, and we lived in Tallahassee that academic year, so from 2005 until the summer of 2006, and then we spent a year living in Miami from 2006 to 2007, and then I lived back in Tallahassee from 2007 to 2014.
Why did you move to Tallahassee the first time?
The first time we moved to Tallahassee for Danny's job, he got a job at FSU Law School.
All right, and what about the second time?
And the second time we moved back to Tallahassee because he had tried to get a job at University of Miami Law School and it didn't work out.
All right, so both times it was for his employment?
Yes,
Okay, did you like living in Tallahassee?
I did.
All right, and did
Pause.
you live on Trescott Drive?
We did.
Sorry, my clicker is not
That's
working.
okay. Hate that she calls him Danny. I don't feel like she should have that right anymore. And second, same in the interview, she's always going to be throwing him under the bus. Well, he tried to get a job in Miami and it just didn't work out. Like he's not good enough to get a job in Miami.
Right, and because she's in front of the jury, she's not going to throw him under the bus the way she normally does.
Right. So it'll be the subtle. Yep.
She softened it up. Danny, with the big doe
Uh-huh.
eye. Danny.
And never shutting her freaking mouth.
Right, which tells you what?
Innocent. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Baby bird, mommy, mommy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's annoying. Okay, Tosh, please stop. My cat is yelling at me. You know who wears the pants in this family?
That was,
Yes.
that was our home.
And where are you from, Ms. Adelson?
I'm from Broward County originally.
And do you have family members in Broward currently?
I have one family member in Broward.
Where do you live currently? Or you can just tell us.
I live in Miami-Dade County.
Okay, so pause that for a second.
Okay.
Is obviously Miami-Dade is wealthy. What's Broward?
Broward
Do you
is
know?
where Charlie lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have one family member who lives in Broward. She doesn't say who it is. The one who was
Right,
dating the one who was dating the woman who's on trial for murdering my ex-husband.
Yeah, I assumed that it was like an aunt that lives there, the way that she said that.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, he was referred to as Danny. That is true. But she says it with the baby voice
Yeah.
and those dumb doe eyes. It's
About your
Yeah.
parents, where do they live?
They currently live in Miami-Dade County.
All right. And what about your brother, Charles Adelson?
He lives in Broward County.
There it is.
And do you have any children?
I do.
And how many children do you have?
I have 2 children.
What are their ages?
They are 10 and 8, turning 9 soon.
Okay, both boys?
Both boys.
And both the biological children of Dan Markel?
Yes.
that little look.
Yeah.
She didn't say, we have 2 children. Danny and I had 2 children. It was, I have 2 children.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
of course, he's been deceased for 5 years at this point, so that could be understandable. But if you want to really show that you're a sympathetic character, you might have.
Yeah.
I think she knows her limits on how much.
Are your family members employed, specifically your parents and your brother?
You're gonna love this. Gosh.
My mom is not currently working very much. She helps out with my dad's office. My dad.
And I didn't interrupt on the earlier one, but my mom is not currently working very much. She babysits my children 24/7.
Oh, okay.
But that's not what she says.
No.
Dad is a dentist, and my brother Charlie is a periodontist.
And does your family have a dental practice in South Florida
They do.
that they own and operate?
They do.
Is your family in South Florida wealthy? And that's a relative term.
Are you asking me to speculate?
No, I'm asking if
Pause.
I knew I had to pause that one for you. Go
I mean,
ahead.
it's just like Alec Murdoch. It's the exact same thing. Like,
What did Alex
compared
do?
to other people,
Oh.
he was also asked if he was wealthy,
Okay.
and he would not answer it. He would not say, like, compared to who. I mean, if you compare me to so and so, I guess, but otherwise, no. Like, I mean, if you're making more than X amount of dollars, you're wealthy. So just say yes or no. Like, it's the most craziest thing when they do this. Also, because she's a lawyer, she's either going to answer the direct question directly, or she's going to answer the question with a question, because she's a lawyer. It's what they do.
Well, no, it's not necessarily what they do as a lawyer, but it's what deceptive people do.
Okay.
I mean, not all lawyers are going to be a lawyer on trial, yes. But
Yeah.
she wasn't even a named co-conspirator at this point. She wasn't.
Oh.
Right. So, I mean, she's pretty cagey. I think part of it, too, is wanting to take control.
Yes.
Right. And Helen agrees. Yes. And Judy says, as an attorney, it is sort of silly to ask a witness, are you wealthy?
Yeah. Be direct. Like, say, do your parents make $1 million or more? Like, that's, yeah.
Well, I think this gets back to like what I was talking about earlier in criminal law, with whether it's policemen doing, officers doing interviews, or straight up interrogations, or lawyers asking questions on the stand. They're trying to get the baseline. They're trying to get them into a rhythm, and they're trying to shake them up a little bit too. So I don't know that she wanted to, and that Georgia necessarily cared if she answered whether she was wealthy,
Sure.
but she wanted to elicit a reaction, and this is what she got.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Judy agrees. Isn't it true your parents have a net worth in excess of 10 million, for example? Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't.
Gosh.
least she's not yelling at me. Right?
They're wealthy.
Oh,
If
God.
you don't know, you say you don't know.
It depends how you define wealthy.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Are they millionaires?
No.
No. So
I think that's a lie.
yeah. And she looks away. Why do you think she looked away after that?
Deception.
You lie, it's like
No.
a little bit of shame.
Yep.
So in the smile, no.
When did you separate from Mr. Markel?
Judy says
We
yes.
separated in the fall of 2012.
And was part of the reason for your disagreement or separation having to do with how to raise the children in terms of your faith?
Yes, we had different ways of practicing our faith.
Okay. Do you know
He practiced our faith. I didn't. That's
Yes.
the difference.
Yes.
when you filed for divorce?
I believe it was the fall of 2012.
Okay, 9, 10, 2012 sound right to you?
That sounds right.
And when you separated initially in the fall of 2012, did you move to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
You didn't go to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
Was it your desire during that time to move with the children to South Florida?
I would say right then, no, it wasn't.
Lie.
All the extra, right? She
Mm-hmm.
I think her one of the tells is all the extra she just puts out when she's
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell something that isn't true. I think I'll
Are
just
you familiar with a court order ordering you to come back to Tallahassee from South Florida?
I'm not familiar with that.
When you moved out from the marital home there on Trescott Drive, you lived at another residence in Tallahassee, is that correct?
I did.
And do you recall the address there?
I do. 3303 Aqua Ridge Way.
Okay. And was there a time during the time that you were living there at Aqua Ridge that you determined that you would like to move to South Florida with the children?
There was.
Right. And were your parents very involved in trying to facilitate that relocation?
My parents were supportive of me moving to South Florida.
Would you describe your parents as being over involved in your personal business?
So did you notice how she frames the question there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and Judy says acting like she can barely remember with all that facial stuff.
Yeah.
There we
As
go.
compared to other people's
Yep.
parents?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That really bugged me.
Yeah.
She could have just said, I don't know in the first place, but she wanted to screw around a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't screw around with a prosecutor. Probably
Yeah,
the
but
future.
she thinks she's the smartest person in the room. So
We love those kind of people.
yeah.
The smartest people in the room type of people who look like such idiots.
Like we're not gonna catch their lying. It's
Child custody
yeah.
schedule when you were living at Aqua Ridge, and I assume Mr. Markel continued to live in the marital home on Trescott.
He did.
Okay, what was the custody situation with the kids?
So the custody situation changed over time and depending on the part of the year. But I think in the beginning, we would do a Wednesday night overnight. It was about 50-50 shared custody, but I don't remember the exact arrangement. I do remember in the summertime it would switch to week on, week off, but during the school year it was slightly different.
So still 50-50, but not necessarily every other week. It was mixed up within the week.
It was.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't you remember the exact arrangement if you're the mother?
Yeah. When you had your kids and when you didn't have them, yes.
It's not like they had a live-in nanny or something.
Right.
They didn't.
Right.
They could have.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I would think as
Also,
a mother, remember that detail.
yeah. And it's also really
And
impressive that Danny wanted 50-50 because, I mean, I have a couple friends going through divorce right now, and it's, they don't, it's different because the mom wants them, you know? But
Hmm.
the fact that Danny fought for them is different than most men.
Right. I mean, all he wanted was 50-50.
Right.
He didn't want her to move away so that he couldn't see them 50% of the time.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't want to take them 100%.
Right.
There was no
you
indication,
mentioned that you
as far as I know. I didn't want,
did
sorry.
develop a desire to move to South Florida. Did you file a motion to that effect on January 14th, 2013?
That sounds, I did file a motion. I don't remember the exact date,
Okay.
but that sounds about right.
All right. And in that motion, did you make some allegations that Mr. Markel was making things difficult for you at work?
I did.
And
So she had no problem answering that one.
Right.
was that motion
She remembers
granted or
that.
denied?
That motion was denied.
All right. Denied with prejudice?
I don't remember.
Okay.
If you have it, you can, I'm happy to take a look.
Okay. But
I'm a lawyer. I don't remember something that important, and it was regarding something that she filed a complaint
Right.
about him. Mm-hmm.
in any event, you were
Yes.
not able to move at that time.
I did not move.
Pause.
Okay.
That's also interesting semantics. You were not able to move. And she says, I did not move.
Right.
It's not, yeah, it was her. She's framing it as it was her choice not to move.
Correct. And she's also softening the fact that she was restricted because that
Right.
was the whole motive. Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to try to maintain control also. So there's a few
Mhm.
elements to this.
And were you upset about being stuck in Tallahassee?
I was relieved.
You were relieved. You wanted to stay in Tallahassee.
Do you remember
Lie.
Do you remember
Lie.
what everyone said and what she said in the interview?
Yes. She hated Tallahassee. Yes.
Look at that face.
Mug.
You know, the face is a little bit of flaring nostrils on that one too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Wendy.
That's her
I
Charlie
was happy
face.
at my job.
I was happy at my job.
So she was happy at her job, but Dan was making it miserable for her? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Right. I think she's trying to relate to the jury here. Like she had a
Right.
job. Yeah. And she's not her parents. She's not a trust fund baby.
Right.
Do you
Married to a brilliant lawyer.
recall when your divorce to Mr. Markel became final?
The summer of 2013.
Okay, July 31st.
Just remember that.
Sounds
Yep.
about right.
That sounds right.
Would you consider your divorce with Mr. Markel to be a nasty divorce?
I think most divorces aren't very pleasant.
Okay, but this one was like really unpleasant, right?
I found getting divorced to be unpleasant, yes.
And in the litigation that ensued between the two of you, you guys argued over things as small as a tennis racket. I noticed in one pleading.
I don't.
Is she smiling?
Yeah. Yeah. In a weird way. She's also, again, rephrasing the questions and like asserting control and yeah. And the scrunchy nose comes in.
When a little
Yeah.
kid lies, no, Mom, oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah,
Like a little kid.
exactly.
Oh, and Helen says, see, yeah, when she sticks her bottom jaw out, and that is part of that. Good find, Helen. That is usually a sign of aggression.
Don't remember that.
Sure.
Did he threaten to press kidnapping charges against you?
Caption here, so.
Oh, the
What?
faces.
Lots of faces throughout this part.
Like, how do you not?
I don't-
Again, you remember certain things, but you don't remember other things, and it's just lying. It's just straight up lying.
Remember that? No.
Did he threaten to go after your law license?
I just
Oh,
need good,
Wendi.
I just need good screenshots.
Remember that?
Yes, you do.
Remember that? No.
Do you remember him saying you failed to disclose a bunch of assets in the divorce process?
I do remember that.
Oh, so we remember
guys have
money.
Mediations as
Oops.
part of your divorce?
We did have mediations leading up to settlement.
2 8-hour mediations, correct?
I don't remember how long they were, but they seemed very long.
Yeah. And they both did not result in a resolution.
They did not.
All right, but you did reach a settlement, I think, kind of just on the eve of a trial on the matter, correct?
That sounds right.
That sounds.
Do you remember this motion that was filed by your deceased ex-husband on March 26, 2014, involving, among other things, that had to do with
Here goes the bubble head floating around like a little bubble. I'm a little bubble head.
Ugh.
your mother, an allegation that your mother was disparaging the children? I'm sorry. Disparaging him to the children is what I meant to say. Are you familiar with that pleading?
I am familiar with that pleading.
All right. And in that pleading, did he allege that you were depriving him of physical access to the children?
I don't remember the specifics.
Do you
Crunchy
recall
face.
whether he was complaining about you refusing to communicate with him about right of first refusal to the children during your time with them?
I know he was frustrated about the Skyping.
Lack of communication via Skype.
It's
between
hard
he
to
and the
Skype
children.
with 2 toddlers, yes.
An excuse for everything. What?
Just the 2 toddlers. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. It's
Yeah.
yeah, just yeah, playing that mommy card.
Children. I'm sorry. Disparaging him to the children is what I meant to say. Are you familiar with that pleading?
I am familiar with that pleading.
All right.
That's an important pleading. When Dan was saying the kids came home and told him that Donna, her mother, said he's stupid and she hates him.
Oh, yeah. We don't talk to our kids about the other spouse or the other. Like, don't do that.
No.
I don't care
But-
how much you dislike the other spouse. You do not do that.
This family, they have different values.
I know.
In that pleading, did he allege that you were depriving him of physical access to the children?
I don't remember the specifics.
I just had to get that one.
The scrunch face.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall whether he was complaining about you refusing to communicate with him about right of first refusal to the children during your time with them?
I know he was frustrated about the Skyping.
Lack of communication via Skype.
It's
between
hard
he
to
and the
Skype
children.
with.
I just love. She looks just like Charlie there. That's why I love that.
With 2 toddlers, yeah.
I mean, they look like twins. When
They do?
when she makes certain faces, yes. Yes,
All right. And
definitely tell they're related.
in that motion, do you recall him being upset about an allegation that you let the kids eat non-kosher foods?
I remember him being upset about that in general, but I don't remember whether it was an emotion or not.
What does that mean, non-kosher foods?
So kosher rules have to do with the separation of milk and meat, or dairy and meat. So non-kosher foods would be meat that hasn't been killed in a way that conforms with Jewish law, or the mixing of the two.
And is observing those types of eating habits something that's important to you?
It is not important to me.
And was it something that was important to Dan Markel?
It was important to Danny.
It was important to him that the children observe that way of eating, correct?
It was.
And in that motion, did he seek to?
All the friends say it was important to her too, until it wasn't. She suddenly changed. That they
Okay.
were both doing.
Like at the wedding?
No, when
Right.
the kids, when the kids were kids, when the kids
Right.
were born.
But
They-
wasn't it her mom who did the non-kosher food at their wedding and that caused like a big uproar?
Yes,
Okay.
but she was saying she makes it out like it was never important to her, but it was important to Danny.
Okay.
So like, oh, that Danny, he was so difficult.
To restrict your mother's contact with the kids to supervised visits only?
I don't remember, but if you'd like to show me the motion, I can take a look.
Okay, but you don't remember that portion.
She knows she can show her the motion. So this is her telling
Uh-huh.
her. Oh, that's not.
No.
Yep.
All right. Do you remember
Yep.
the allegation that your mother made statements to the children that grandma hates you, grandma says you're stupid, your father is trying to take my sunshines away, anything like that? Do you recall?
No, but again, I'm happy to look at it if you'd like to show me.
I understand. Do you recall that Mr. Markel was seeking sanctions against you personally in that motion?
I don't remember that.
Do you know whether this would have been a motion that you would have?
So just based on the scrunchy face history here, we know what that was not a truthful statement, right?
Right. And
Right.
this is all stuff that you would absolutely remember. Like if my husband is saying that my mom can only have supervised visits with my children, you better believe I'm not going to forget that.
I don't recall that. Yeah.
I mean, you can
Right.
show me the motion. Of
Oh.
course I can.
That's where she crosses over from, being a somewhat dislikable person to an absolutely annoying person, in my view.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably would have shown my mom the motion.
Is it fair to say that your parents are very protective of you?
I think that's fair to say.
Is it fair to say
Oh.
that your brother is very protective of you?
I think that's fair to say.
Okay. What about Dan Markel? Did your family like him?
Pause.
She has to take a long time to come up with a good answer for that to not make her family look bad.
Yep.
Do you want to specify a point in time?
Well, I'm specifically thinking of a statement you made in the interview after his death, where you indicated that your parents were very angry with him. Is that accurate?
At that point in time, during
Pay attention.
our divorce, I do think
At that point in time, during our divorce, they were already divorced. She just did
Yeah.
she just switched the question. She just answered something that wasn't the question. And look at the scrunchy
The
nose.
crunch. Yep.
they were angry with him. They felt like he had treated me badly.
Oh yes, and you treated her so badly. Because I'm just a baby.
And the motion to preclude your mom from having unsupervised contact with your kids, that was still pending at the time of his murder, correct?
That's possible. I mean, I don't think anyone took that motion very seriously.
Well, Danny sure did, or he wouldn't have filed it.
Yeah, and it would have been the next week after his death
Well, that's interesting.
that it was heard, right?
Did your mom take it seriously?
I don't think so.
Did Dan Markel take it seriously?
I don't know how Danny felt about a motion. If he wrote the motion, he was probably taking it seriously.
Oh, I hate her. I just hate her. Oh, sorry.
I want to approach with some emails, have you had an opportunity to review State's Exhibit 80?
Your Honor, could I see what this is? Your Honor, and I don't know if you want to do it now or I'm gonna request a sidebar.
What's that?
I'm gonna request a sidebar.
The letter identified.
This is State's Exhibit 80. Just take a moment and flip through, make sure this is the exhibit that's been previously.
I've been shown these exhibits.
Okay. And are these exhibits fair and accurate copies of emails between yourself and your mother, Donna Adelson?
They are.
And the email addresses on this exhibit, donnamarkel@gmail.com. Whose address is that?
My parents have a joint email address.
Okay, but you're communicating with one of them in particular.
Whoever signed the email, but it could be from either or both of them.
Okay, either could have used it, but deduce from who signed it, who it's from.
That sounds right.
Okay, and Wendi Adelson @gmail.com, is that you?
That is me.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask you to have the State's Exhibit.
We'll go sidebar.
Okay, so it's almost 20 minutes. They're doing a sidebar, so this is a great stopping point we can take up again tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
I have a question for you.
yeah.
It's never mind. It was a dumb one. I just figured it out in my head all by myself.
Oh, well, it wasn't a dumb one. Ask it because someone in the comments might have it.
I was wondering how quickly she went back to Adelson. Her maiden name.
Oh, her name. Yes, yes, yes. It was pretty quickly. I don't remember how quickly, but it was before she claimed that she did. The reason I remember is she claimed she did it so that the kids would be safe in school because she was afraid that somebody would come after them like they did with Danny. And so the school year, this was Danny's death murder was in July. And so the school year started like a month later. So it was pretty quick.
Okay. Because she also changed her kids' names back to Adelson. Or not back to, she changed them to Adelson.
Oh, her own name. I would guess right after the divorce. I don't know that one. I mean, yeah, sorry. I was thinking about the kids. Yes.
I was just thinking about my husband and my friends that have whatever. My mother-in-law has never gone back to her maiden name because she always wanted to have the same last name as her kids.
Right.
So, and even my friend I have a couple friends recently divorced and they're still keeping their married name because, they want to have the same last name as their kids.
Right. You're right. Helen is right. This is right. She was never Wendi Markel. She was always Wendi Adelson. I just remembered that. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Helen. See, my brain is not always, I'm not a morning person. Just so everybody knows, Katie's making me do this in the morning.
I know. Sorry.
I'm like, okay. No, it's good. I've been getting up a little bit earlier and I want to keep on that rhythm. So
yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah. So I did ask the audience to please jump in because sometimes I forget things and I am brushing up. This is perfect timing. We've been meaning to do this anyway, but I'm brushing for my collaboration with Mentor Lawyer, where he wants to review his reasons why Wendi could be possibly implicated in the murder of Dan Markel. It's almost 3 p.m. by Helen. Yes. So it's not quite noon here. So
that's so funny.
So would you like to start at an hour later tomorrow again, or do you want to start as planned?
Let me look at my schedule and let me get back to you.
Okay. So
I'll see what we have for tomorrow.
Yeah. Because once I announce it, there's a countdown and all that, and I don't want to change it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
So I went on for about 20 minutes before you or an hour, but it's 20 minutes of the trial. So if you want to compare what I did prior, you're welcome to watch it. And for those replaying, hi to you. For those in the chat, thanks for chatting. Oh, you're in Ontario. Okay, so you're East Coast. You're the same as East Coast, US. So yeah, I'm way down here in Southern California. Too Deep. Hello, Too Deep. Thank you for welcoming us back. Thank you. It's so good to see you. We're back. Yeah, so
Yay.
it's kind of unfortunate because watching this, it's like, ugh, it brings up a lot of
I
negative
know.
which I don't like to focus on, but I really do want to finish the job, do my homework,
Yeah.
and and I'll create shorter content from the long form as well. So yeah.
And Charlie's trial is what, 2 months away?
So yes, it's October 23rd is when it starts, and tomorrow is
So
a
3 months. Okay.
hearing, probably a status hearing. I can't remember what the
Okay.
hearing is, but and Mentor Lawyer will be covering that live on
Okay.
his page.
Awesome.
So meet you over there. It's probably going to be short and sweet,
Yeah.
but yep, yeah, California girl over here. So I'm 3 hours.
Did you survive Hillary?
Yeah. Yeah, we got a couple of below. I live in an area where we just don't get weather. Hold on, I've got to let this
Okay.
cat out. But if she, the reason she's grounded is because she's been going up on the railing, and it's 3 stories up.
Oh.
She's literally yelling, "Go, go, go away!" She's like, she doesn't hesitate yelling at me, "Mom!" I mean, but she's a good kitty. She doesn't wake me up at night. She doesn't wake me up in the morning. She waits. She's just a really good kitty, but she's obsessed with this plant out there all of a sudden. And oh God. Anyway. So yeah, so where I live, we don't really get weather. And even as much as there were warnings and all that, I was like taking bets that we wouldn't even get a drop of rain. First of all, we don't get hurricanes.
Yeah.
Well, in general, it was like 100 years ago when they had a tropical storm remnant from a hurricane, which is, we don't get tropical storms either.
Yeah.
So it was very rare, and it can happen because the Baja Peninsula in Mexico get hurricanes down there. But because of the shape of our coastline and the water temperature and the northerly, current, all this stuff combined, we just have a really moderate Mediterranean climate that doesn't vary. It's like 10 degrees throughout the whole year variance. So it's unusual. And so we were prepared for, big winds and things like that. We did get rain. We never get rain in summer either. So it was cool. Yeah. It was rain, and I was like dancing out there in the rain. It was just really fun. But we didn't get any thunder. We didn't get any lightning. Just quite moderate. But the folks in the mountains and deserts, so San Diego is a huge, huge county. Okay. It goes practically up to the Arizona border and up into the mountains north. It goes all the way to San Clemente on the coast, which is then Orange County. So it's a huge, huge, huge county. And so we have all different climates in our county, and and microclimates as well. And so some folks had flooding and rock slides and mudslides.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And a lot of rain can be dangerous in the summer because, it can wipe out some of our areas that are already wiped out and make it more of a fire danger in the fall. So it's, it all, yeah. Tosh isn't super loud. I've heard some really loud cats, but she's persistent. She's bossy. She wants her way, but she's a good kitty. She's always been this way. I mean, she's got a really good personality, and she's going to go on her first airplane trip next month.
Yay!
I think we're both going to be tranquilized.
Are you going to Wisconsin?
Yes.
Yay!
But it's a surprise, so I shouldn't say.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Just kidding. I'm not really going there.
Okay.
I'll tell you about offline.
Okay.
So, and I have some other stuff to tell you guys too offline. So I might do it. I might do another series on another thing that's really interesting, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
A lot of things in the. So anywho, yeah. So lucky Dawn. Yes, I live in a really, really nice climate. I can't complain. I live right by the ocean. I can see the ocean. I'm spoiled. I've spoiled myself.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work for it. So
We have excessive heat temps this whole
I
week.
know I've been hearing that around
Yeah.
my parents, where my family lives. And yeah,
A
that's
couple of cities around us have hit like records because we're hitting 125.
what?
And that's not like the real temp. That's the
Oh, how it feels.
yes, because of our humidity, our dew point is 81 degrees. So like I could walk outside with something that's like, I don't know, I forget how it goes, but my husband's never seen it above 79 and we hit 81. Like
Right.
it's so humid, Dawn. It is so humid.
I wonder if you're getting the remnants of the tropical storm, because it was weird here too, because normally we have a dry climate, but we're on the
Yep.
ocean. It's not dry. It's kind of it's considered Mediterranean, so it's desert and then water.
Yeah.
But with this tropical storm, it was like ew. It was like Florida weather. It
Yeah,
was
it's
so
disgusting.
wet. It was hot, and it wasn't hot. Like it was maybe 80, but for us, it was like, oh my gosh, it's so hot.
I know. I walk outside and my glass is instant fog. Like it's so
Wow.
gross.
Yeah. Yuck. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that.
No.
I could not live in the South. I mean, I live in the South,
No.
but in the
Nope.
Southeast.
Nope.
So, Helen, are you having hot weather in Ontario? I bet. Oh, and you're having those fires.
The fire. Yeah.
The fires in Canada are just horrendous this year. So sad. The fire in Lahaina, the fire in Maui really blew me away. It really scared me because I'm very familiar with that area, been many times. It's kind of a common vacation spot for people who live here because it's close-ish. But there's a real connection between Southern California and Hawaii.
Yep.
But also having been through so many fires here.
Yeah.
And evacuations and stuff too. Not like that, obviously. I wouldn't be alive. But it's horrific. It's really just so frightening. And they're still looking for people, and the count is still going up, and it's scary times. So when I make fun of the weather, I don't mean to be insensitive to anyone else who's going through, like you guys, true heat waves and all that.
I agree.
I try not to talk too much about my weather because it's like, I mean, we have a cool ocean breeze. Even when people are hot in the county here, like east of us, we're like, oh yeah, it's really hot. We try not to say it's like really cool here. I have to wear a little sweater, at night. So yeah, I know. I don't try not to brag about weather too much. I'm glad it's nice, nice by you, Heather, in Ontario, and the fires are on the other side. So the fires are more on the west side now. I thought that fires were everywhere in Canada for a while there.
Too.
Yeah, well, I know there was smoke in Wisconsin that was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, it's great to see everyone. I've missed this so much, and we'll come back tomorrow. You'll just put your little bell on for notifications so you can see when we're on, or replay anytime. And these, even though this is not her police interview or interrogation, it's all going to be in the same folder for Tarot Talk. So with that, I'm going to say bye for now. Katie, if you can hold on one sec. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks again for the support and for joining.